Greetings, everyone. I'm Father Neal, the rector of the cathedral here in Syracuse, and we are coming to the last few days of our July 2020. A nice, hot, warm July. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Recently, I was reading a story about Johann Sebastian Bach, who was born in 1865 to a long line of very prominent musicians in Germany. And he very quickly, as we know, distinguished himself as the musical genius that he was. In his 65 years, he published more than 1,000 compositions for all the available instrumentations of his day. So early in his career, he was considered an astoundingly gifted organist and improviser. The commissions rolled in, royalty sought him out, young composers emulated his style. He enjoyed great prestige and privilege. But as it often happens, it didn't last. New musical trends came about. Even his son, Karl, became much more famous than he. And so Johann Sebastian Bach could have become very embittered by this change, but he didn't. What he chose to do was redesign his life. Rather than be an innovator, he became a constructor. He became a teacher. He spent the last 10 years of his life writing the Art of the Fugue for his own children and for those students that he was teaching and for future generations. It wasn't popular at the time, but it would help these students have the techniques of the Baroque. So in later years, he lived a quieter life. As a teacher and a family man, he died beloved, fulfilled, and very respected. So like Bach's life, oftentimes things just don't always work out the way we want them to work out. Many times during our lives, we're challenged to redesign our lives. When we lose a loved one, as so many of you have, when we lose a job, when we meet failure and disappointment, when we don't get what we've been striving after, and when an unexpected pandemic just puts everything in flux, turns everything upside down. So life constantly challenges us to let go, to move on. There are many things we're called to die to so that new life can come for each one of us. And if we don't let go, if we don't die to the past to open up for the future, we can become very bitter and very resentful. And this is really a description of the essence of Christianity. We're constantly called to die to one thing to experience new life. And that's what the Paschal candle symbolizes, the Paschal mystery, the dying and the rising. There are always Good Fridays in each of our lives, but as Christians we believe that there will always be an Easter Sunday. So these days, during this pandemic and all of the chaos that exists in our world, certainly we are being asked to enter into the Paschal mystery, to understand that often things just don't work out, that we must constantly redesign our lives. And certainly we've had to do this with the church. I've had to do it with so many things in my life during these days of pandemic, how we celebrate, how many people can be part of the celebration, funerals and weddings. Everything has changed. But we're not alone. Our God doesn't often take these challenges away from us, but God does give us the grace to meet them. So during these challenging days for all of us as we approach August and soon approach the fall, and so many decisions have to be made about the opening of schools, which we're praying for all of you parents and teachers during these difficult days of decision. But it's time for us as Christians and believers to realize that we are in the Paschal mystery, and we don't have to become bitter and angry. Things don't always go our way, the way we want them to. But the grace is available to redesign our lives and move on. It is by letting go, entering in the Paschal mystery, that we can experience real peace in the midst of all the challenges that we are definitely facing these days. Have a peaceful week. Continue to enjoy the summer weather, everyone.